My name is Hazel Quinn. I'm 29 years old, and my wedding blew up the exact moment my fiance told me that wanting basic loyalty made me immature. When all of this started, my life looked normal. Instagram normal. I'd been with my boyfriend, well, ex-fiance now, Liam Carter, 27, for 3 years. We got engaged 8 months ago. The ring wasn't huge, but it was perfect for me. Warm yellow gold, a simple oval stone, nothing flashy but quietly beautiful. The wedding was booked, deposits paid, invitations sitting in a box on our kitchen counter, waiting to be mailed. My mom was already practicing mother of the bride smiles in every reflective surface. On paper, everything was lined up. The only thing that never lined up was Liam and his older brother Nathan. Nathan is 31 and everything Liam insists he doesn't care about, while clearly caring a lot. Nathan's a corporate lawyer at a big firm downtown, owns a sleek condo with floor-to-ceiling windows, drives a car that purrs instead of rattles. He travels for work to places you see in movies, not discount airline emails. Liam, meanwhile, manages an electronics store at the mall. There's nothing wrong with that. I work in retail too. I supervise a clothing store across the hall from his. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work, and I'm good at it. Still, every family event turned into some comment from Liam about people who sell their souls for money or must be nice having everything handed to you. It didn't take a genius to know who he meant. The thing is, nothing was handed to Nathan. He got a scholarship for undergrad, took out loans for law school, paid them off in 5 years. The man hustled. But in Liam's version of reality, his brother just got lucky, or had some invisible advantage, or cheated the system. It was easier to resent Nathan than face his own insecurity. And then there was Sophie, Liam's ex, the one his mom still accidentally called me by, for months, like a reflex, the one the family still mentioned when they thought I wasn't listening. Sophie always brought the nicest wine to dinner. Sophie used to help Nathan with contracts. She's so smart. Sophie, Sophie, Sophie. Apparently, I was good enough to marry, but not enough to completely erase the ghost of the woman who came before me, or the brother who outshone him. So, yeah, there were cracks in the picture long before it shattered. It shattered on a Tuesday night. We were having dinner, leftover pasta, garlic bread a little too crisp, the kind of quiet evening that's supposed to feel safe. I was going over the final head count for the reception when I saw it, that look on Liam's face. The one where his eyes go distant and his jaw tightens, like he's rehearsed something and finally hit play. "We need to talk," he said. My fork stalled halfway to my mouth. Nothing good ever starts with those 4 words. About what? He stared at his plate like it had personally wronged him. About us, about the wedding, about everything. My stomach dropped. "Okay," I said slowly. "What's going on?" He took a breath, then another, like he was about to dive underwater. "I love you," he started, which somehow made it worse. "I really do. But lately I've been feeling trapped." The word landed between us like a dropped glass. Trapped, I repeated, my voice catching on it. "Not by you," he rushed to add, "just by the idea of settling down forever without, I don't know, experiencing other things first, other people." There it was. I set my fork down carefully, lining it up with the knife, because if I didn't control something, I was going to lose it. "Other people," I said. "You want to sleep with other people." He winced. "It's not just about sleeping with them. It's about exploring. Making sure we don't have regrets. I've been reading about it. A lot of couples open their relationship before marriage. It's actually really healthy if you have good communication and boundaries." Of course, he'd been reading about it. "Healthy," I echoed, feeling my heartbeat in my throat. "You think it's healthy to tell your fiancé you're trapped?" He finally looked up. His eyes were shiny, earnest, like he was the brave one here. "Hazel, don't you want to know we're meant to be together? That we're not just settling? I think we should open our relationship, just temporarily, until the wedding. We both get to explore and then we choose each other for real." There it was, neatly packaged, his freedom, hand-wrapped in fake maturity. "You want to open the relationship," I said. "Yes, for both of us," he said quickly. "It's not just about me. You could see other people too. It could actually make us stronger. We'd be choosing each other after seeing what else is out there." I watched him talk and talk, all these phrases that sounded suspiciously like they came from some Reddit thread or article he'd bookmarked. Communication, boundaries, emotional safety. The words were polished. Too polished. I thought about how his phone had been glued to his hand for weeks, lighting up with messages from Emma from work, the coworker who was just funny and such a good listener. "So," I said, keeping my voice level, "you have someone in mind." His head jerked up. "What? No, I mean, not specifically. This isn't about one person." He reached for my hand. Mine stayed flat on the table. "Look, I thought you'd be mature about this," he said softly. "Don't you want to know we're really meant for each other? That we're not just scared?" Ah, there it was. The trap inside the trap. If I said no, I wasn't setting a boundary. I was being immature, insecure, controlling. He'd already written the script, and my only choices were his lines. I looked at this man I'd planned a life with, who apparently wanted to test drive Emma while I stayed home like a loyal, emotional support animal. A cold, quiet part of me woke up. "All right," I said. He blinked. "What?" "Let's open the relationship," I repeated. "You're right. We wouldn't want anyone to feel trapped." His whole face lit up like I'd given him a bonus check. "Really? Oh my God, Hazel, I knew you'd understand. This is going to be so good for us." He launched into a monologue about rules and check-ins and what we should and shouldn't tell each other. I nodded in all the right places, even as something inside me stepped back from the edge. He thought he'd just unlocked a door. He didn't realize it swung both ways. That weekend, I went to my usual coffee shop, the one I used to escape to when wedding planning felt like a second job. I brought my laptop, opened a spreadsheet I didn't really look at, and tried to figure out what the hell I was doing with my life. The bell above the door chimed. Footsteps crossed the room. A shadow fell across my table. "This seat taken?" a familiar voice asked. I looked up and froze. Nathan, Liam's older brother, stood there in an expensive suit that somehow looked comfortable on him, tie loosened, hair slightly mussed, like he'd been arguing with someone or the wind. Probably both. "Hey," I said, gesturing to the chair. "No, go ahead." He set his laptop down, ordered something complicated without looking at the menu, and came back. For a while, we worked in silence. A comfortable silence, the kind you can't force. "How's the wedding chaos?" he asked eventually, eyes still on his screen. I let out a breath that was half laugh, half sigh. "Took an interesting turn." "Oh?" He glanced up. "We opened the relationship," I said. He choked on his coffee. Actually choked. Coughing, eyes watering, the whole thing. "You what?" he rasped. "Liam decided he feels trapped," I said blandly. "Wants to explore before we get married. So we're doing the open relationship thing. Apparently it's very modern and healthy." Nathan stared at me like I'd grown a second head. "And you're just okay with that?" He made it pretty clear that if I wasn't okay with it, I'd be insecure and close-minded, I said. "So, yeah, I'm being mature." I went back to my laptop, pretending to read something. My heart hammered against my ribs. "He's got someone specific in mind," Nathan said quietly. "Oh, definitely. Emma from work, who just happens to text him constantly. But hey, open relationship, right? He can do what he wants." I met Nathan's eyes. "I can too." He shook his head slowly. "That's honestly kind of messed up, Hazel." "Welcome to my life," I replied. We kept talking. Not just about Liam, but about relationships, family, how being the disappointment or the golden child screws with your head. Nathan didn't sugarcoat anything. He didn't offer cheap comfort. He just listened, then told the truth, even when it was sharp. When we finally started packing up, he hesitated. "If you ever need someone to talk to about this mess," he said, "I'm around. Family loyalty aside, what he's doing is manipulative as hell." I slid my phone across the table. "Put your number in." He did, handed it back. "I mean it," he said. "You don't have to go through this alone." I looked at him for a long second. "Tell me something, Nathan," I said. "You think this open relationship thing is really about growth?" "No," he said flatly. "I think it's about him wanting to sleep with someone else without being the bad guy." I nodded. "Good. Then we're on the same page." He frowned slightly. "What are you planning?" I slid my phone into my bag. "You know how Liam wanted to feel free to explore?" I said calmly. "I've decided to explore too." "Hazel," he warned. "There's someone I'm interested in," I continued. "Not sure he feels the same way." He exhaled, already suspecting. "Tell me about him." "Smart. Has his life together. Doesn't play mind games. Says what he means instead of manipulating people with fake growth talk." Our eyes met. I held his gaze. "Also," I added, "happens to be your brother." Silence stretched between us. "You're serious," he said. "Liam wanted an open relationship," I said softly. "He doesn't get to control who I see." Nathan leaned back, running a hand over his face. "This is going to blow up our family," he said. "Probably," I agreed. So, Nathan, are you interested? He stared at me, then let out a short, disbelieving laugh. One condition, he said finally. When this inevitably explodes in the most dramatic way possible, I want a front row seat. I smiled, a sharp, unfamiliar thing on my own lips. Deal. If you'd told me a year ago that my calmest conversations would be with the man my fiancé couldn't stand, I would have laughed in your face. But 2 weeks into our open relationship, that was my reality. Nathan and I started with coffee. Then coffee turned into lunch. Lunch turned into long walks, where we pretended to care about the weather while talking about everything that actually mattered. We hadn't crossed any big physical lines yet. One lingering hug, his hand on the small of my back for a beat too long. A moment where we both leaned in and then pulled away at the same time, breathing hard, like we'd just been caught. The emotional line, though, that we'd crossed and never looked back. Meanwhile, Liam and I were weird. He'd come home later than usual, phone face down on the table, notifications popping up and lighting the underside. When I asked how work was, he'd say, "Fine." When I asked how Emma was, he'd say, "Why are you obsessed with her?" and laugh like it was a joke. For people supposedly in a healthy, communicative, open relationship, he was suddenly very invested in secrecy. When I brought up how we should handle transparency, he said, "Maybe we don't need to share everything. No need to rub it in each other's faces, right?" Which was hilarious, considering he'd been the one who wanted detailed rules and check-ins. I stopped asking. There's a point where you realize pushing for truth is just you begging someone not to lie to you. The explosion started at a barbecue. His mom insisted on a pre-wedding family bonding day in their backyard. Burgers, potato salad, lemonade in a glass dispenser with floating lemon slices. The whole thing looked like an advertisement for functional families. I almost backed out. But if I didn't show up, I'd be making things awkward, and I wasn't giving them that script. When we arrived, Liam's parents rushed out to greet us. His mom hugged me for a moment too long, like she was clinging to a version of me who didn't know what was happening. His dad gave Liam a firm clap on the shoulder and avoided my eyes just a little too carefully. Nathan was already there, leaning against the deck railing with a beer bottle in his hand. When he saw me, his expression softened in a way I wasn't used to seeing on anyone's face, let alone his. "Hey," he said, straightening. "Hey," I answered, my pulse skipping. Liam went off to help his dad with the grill. I drifted toward the table where Nathan was standing, telling myself I was just going to say hi and then mingle like a normal, emotionally stable person. We started talking. At first it was safe topics. Work, some case he was dealing with, a funny client story. Then it shifted, like it always did, into deeper things. He asked how I was holding up. "Honestly," I said, picking at the label on my plastic cup, "I feel like I'm standing in a house everyone else insists is fine while I'm the only one who can smell smoke." His eyes flicked to where Liam was laughing a little too loudly with his dad. "Yeah," he said, "I get that." We slipped into that easy, dangerous rhythm we'd developed. Jokes, shared looks, the kind of shorthand you build with someone when you actually listen to each other. At some point, I realized we'd been talking for nearly an hour, and we weren't subtle. We laughed at the same time. We finished each other's thoughts. I touched his arm when something he said made me laugh hard enough to snort, and he didn't move away. I felt eyes on us before I saw them. Liam stood by the grill, tongs in hand, staring like he'd just caught us making out instead of discussing the philosophical implications of freedom in relationships. A muscle in his jaw jumped. His mom followed his gaze. Her smile faltered. The rest of the afternoon, Liam kept finding flimsy excuses to pull me away from wherever Nathan was. "Come help me in the kitchen." "Hazel, can you check the drinks?" "Babe, sit next to me." I complied for a while. Then, after the third, not-so-subtle relocation, I got tired. Nathan and I ended up on the patio steps, off to the side, talking quietly while kids ran around and someone's playlist hummed through cheap speakers. "You know he's watching us like we're a crime scene, right?" Nathan murmured. "I know," I said, "but we're just talking." His eyes held mine. "Are we?" I opened my mouth, then closed it. The answer was obvious. We lingered in that space until Liam finally snapped. On the drive home, the silence was loud. He kept his eyes on the road, knuckles white on the steering wheel. "What's going on with you and Nathan?" he asked suddenly. I looked at him. "What do you mean?" He laughed once, humorless. "Don't do that. All the talking, the laughing, the weird little inside jokes. You were glued to him the whole afternoon." "We were having a conversation," I said. "He's good company." "Since when are you and my brother friends?" he demanded. "Since you opened the relationship," I said, keeping my voice calm. "And I started getting to know people better." He was quiet for a beat. I could practically hear the gears grinding in his head. Are you dating my brother? He finally asked. I watched the scenery pass outside. Houses, trees, a couple walking a dog that looked happier than I'd felt in weeks. We're in an open relationship, I said. So, yes, I'm seeing other people, like you encouraged. The car swerved slightly, his grip tightening. Not him, he said hoarsely. Anyone but him. I actually laughed, sharp and humorless. That's not how this works, Liam. You don't get to pick and choose who I see. This is different, he snapped. He's my brother. You made the rules, I reminded him. Open relationship. Freedom to explore. Your exact words. His hands shook on the wheel. This isn't what I meant. Then what did you mean? I asked. Because from where I'm sitting, you meant you wanted to sleep with Emma while keeping me on standby. Now that I'm actually using the freedom you insisted on, suddenly there are conditions. It's not the same thing, he said. Why? I asked quietly. Because you're not the only one having fun anymore? He pulled into our driveway too fast and slammed on the brakes. The seatbelt locked against my chest. We're closing the relationship, he said. Right now. This is done. Nah, I said softly. I'm good. He turned to me slowly, disbelief all over his face. What did you just say? I said I'm good, I repeated. I like being in an open relationship. Turns out you were right. It is educational. Hazel, be serious, he snapped. I am being serious, I said. I'm meeting new people, learning new things about myself, understanding what I actually want. It's clarifying. You can't be serious about him, he said, almost spitting the word. He's my brother. This is twisted. You wanted an experiment, I said. You just didn't think you wouldn't be able to control the results. He stared at me like he'd never seen me before. Maybe he hadn't. Maybe I was finally showing him the version of me that wasn't just grateful for crumbs. I'm closing it, he said again, desperate. The relationship is closed, as of right now. I unbuckled my seatbelt. That requires both people to agree, Liam, and I don't. I opened the door. The night air was cool against my flushed skin. Besides, I added, pausing. I thought you were busy with Emma. How's that going, by the way? She still texting you at midnight? His face went from angry red to sickly pale. We need to talk about this, he shouted as I stepped out. We are talking, I replied, leaning down to look at him through the open door. You wanted freedom. We both have it. You just don't like that I stopped being the safe option waiting at home. He didn't follow me right away. When he finally came inside, he went straight to the spare bedroom and shut the door. I slept in our bed alone, staring at the ceiling, feeling more awake than I'd felt in months. The next morning, my phone was full of missed calls from his mother. 10, 11, 12. I let them go to voicemail. When I finally listened, her voice shook with tears and anger. Hazel, dear, we need to talk. Liam told us everything. You're dating his brother? After he opened his heart and tried to do something mature with you, you're tearing this family apart. You're manipulating both my sons. Please call me back. We need to fix this before the wedding. Before the wedding, like that train was still running on time. I texted Nathan. Your mom called. Fair warning. He replied almost instantly. Yeah. She tried me too. Said I was being selfish and destroying my brother's happiness. I told her to ask her precious son who opened the relationship first. A beat later, she hung up on me. I snorted. A few hours after that, Liam tried everything. Tears. Please, we can fix this. Just stop seeing him. We'll forget it happened. Anger. You're disgusting. You did this to hurt me. Guilt. I thought you loved me. I thought we were building a life together. Then came the threat. If you don't stop, I'm calling off the wedding, he said, eyes bloodshot, voice shaking with rage. I stared at him for a long second, something inside me going very, very still. Okay, I said. He blinked. What? Call it off, I repeated. If that's your ultimatum, go ahead. You don't mean that, he whispered. Try me, I said. He didn't call it off. Instead, he went nuclear in a different way. Nathan called me that evening. Well, he said, voice dry, that was fun. What happened? I asked. Your almost mother-in-law summoned me, he said, accused me of stealing your happiness and taking advantage of your confusion. Then she said you're both coming to a family meeting tomorrow night so we can handle this like adults. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow night? I echoed. Yep, he said. Mom, Dad, Liam, you, me. One big, happy intervention. I let out a slow breath. This is going to be an absolute disaster, I murmured. Probably, he agreed. Want to grab dinner after and debrief? I smiled despite the knot in my stomach. Absolutely, I said. The next evening felt like walking into a courtroom where everyone had already chosen a side. Liam's parents lived in a quiet, respectable neighborhood, the kind with trimmed hedges and welcome mats that lied. Their house always smelled faintly of lemon cleaner, like they'd wipe away anything unpleasant if they just scrubbed hard enough. When Nathan and I arrived separately, because optics, apparently, Mrs. Carter opened the door with a tight, brittle smile. "Hazel," she said, voice trembling with forced warmth. "Come in." Translation: "Please behave in front of the neighbors." Nathan arrived seconds later. Her expression toward him was icier. Inside, Mr. Carter sat rigidly on the couch, fingers interlaced, staring at a spot on the carpet like it might jump up and explain the situation. Liam sat in the armchair, the seat that usually belonged to his father, arms crossed, eyes bloodshot, wearing the look of a man who'd been victimized by the world's cruelty. I took a seat on the smaller sofa. Nathan sat beside me, close enough to make Liam twitch, far enough to still be polite. "This has gotten completely out of hand," Mrs. Carter began, folding her hands in her lap as if in prayer. "We need to address this maturely, without yelling, without blaming, and without dramatics." I wondered who she thought she was talking to, because her sons were practically ticking bombs. "What situation exactly?" Nathan asked mildly. "Don't play dumb," Liam snapped. "You know exactly what situation." Mrs. Carter inhaled sharply. "Hazel, dear, you're dating Nathan, your fiancé's brother. This is inappropriate, deeply hurtful, and morally—" "Morally what?" Nathan cut in. "Worse than asking your partner to open the relationship so you can sleep with someone else?" Her eyes widened, scandalized. "Nathan, that's uncalled for." "It's true," he said simply, "and you know it." Liam sprang to his feet. "I wasn't trying to sleep with anyone. You're twisting everything." "Emma from work?" I said quietly. His mouth snapped shut. Mrs. Carter blinked, confused. "Who is Emma?" No one answered. Mr. Carter cleared his throat, the sound dry and weary. "Look, everyone, let's not escalate. Let's just—" "She's manipulating all of you," Liam exploded, pointing at me like an overdramatic soap villain. "She wanted revenge. That's all this is." "Revenge for what?" Nathan asked. "For you being selfish? For you trying to sneak around with someone else while making Hazel feel guilty for wanting basic fidelity?" Liam rounded on him. "You always think you're so righteous, don't you? Perfect Nathan with his perfect career and his perfect condo and his perfect life." "That's your projection, not my reality," Nathan said calmly. "Oh, shut up," Liam spat. "You couldn't wait to swoop in and steal my fiancé. You've been jealous of me for years." Nathan blinked, then let out a soft, incredulous laugh. "Jealous," he repeated, "of you." "Stop it!" Mrs. Carter shouted unexpectedly, palms pressed to her temples. "Stop talking like this. You're brothers." "Exactly," Liam said, voice cracking. "And he's dating my fiancé." "Ex-fiancé," I corrected, my voice steady. All eyes snapped to me. "The wedding is still happening," Liam said immediately, panic cutting into his tone. "We're just having a fight, couples fight. We can fix this." I leaned forward, elbows on my knees, hands clasped loosely. "Liam," I said gently enough that his face brightened with a flicker of hope before I crushed it. "You gave me an ultimatum. Stop seeing Nathan or you'd call off the wedding. I told you to go ahead." He swallowed, eyes darting. "You didn't mean it." "I did," I said. "I've never been clearer." Mrs. Carter looked like I'd just confessed to burning down a church. "Hazel, sweetheart, marriage is about forgiveness, compromise, understanding." "Is it?" I asked softly. "Because Liam didn't ask for compromise. He asked me to let him explore other options while I stayed faithful and supportive. He didn't want equality. He wanted permission to cheat without consequence." "That is not what happened," Liam yelled, voice cracking. I turned to him. "Then what did you mean when you said you felt trapped? When you told me that wanting exclusivity made me immature? When you asked me to open the relationship so neither of us had regrets?" His face went red, then purple. "You twisted everything," he whispered. "This is your fault, all of it." "Enough," Mr. Carter said, standing slowly. "I think we need a clear answer from you two." He looked between me and Nathan. "Are you actually together?" Nathan didn't hesitate. "Yes." Mrs. Carter gasped. Liam looked physically ill. I nodded. "Yes, we're seeing each other." Liam lurched to his feet. No, you're not. This is temporary. She's confused, Nathan. She doesn't know what she wants." "I know exactly what I want," I said softly. "You just don't like the answer." "What about the wedding?" Mrs. Carter whispered desperately. I reached into my bag, pulled out the engagement ring, and set it gently on the coffee table. The small sound it made when it touched the wood felt like a gavel hitting its block. "I'm calling it off," I said. The silence afterward was a living thing. Liam stared at the ring like it might crawl back to him. You can't, he choked. You can't do this. This is all because of him. He manipulated you. He always has to win. Nathan always has to take what's mine. No, Nathan said quietly. I didn't take anything. You let go the moment you asked her to open the relationship for your own convenience. You just never thought she'd follow the rules. You ruined everything, Liam whispered to me, tears streaming now. You ruined my life. You ruined this family. No, Liam, I said. You did that when you tried to rewrite loyalty as oppression. He stumbled back, shaking. Mrs. Carter rushed to him, holding him like a child. This is wrong, she whispered. This is all wrong. Mr. Carter sighed, rubbing his forehead. Hazel, he said slowly. Nathan, are you two truly serious about this? Nathan turned to me. His eyes were steady, warm, clear. Yes, he said, I am. I met his gaze. For the first time in months, my chest didn't feel tight. Yes, I echoed. Mr. Carter nodded once, a weary, reluctant acceptance. Then, I suppose we'll have to adjust. Mrs. Carter looked betrayed by the world itself. I will never forgive this, she whispered. Nathan exhaled. We'll survive. I stood, smoothing my jacket. Nathan? I asked softly. Ready, he said. So ready. We walked out together. Behind us, a photo frame fell off the wall and cracked when the door slammed shut. No one picked it up. 2 months later, my life felt unrecognizable in the best possible ways. The wedding? Canceled. Obviously. Liam lost most of the deposits and tried to make me pay half. I got a lawyer. She took one look at the text messages, his proposal for the open relationship, his manipulation, his threats, and told me I was legally clear. He ended up eating about $6,000 in losses. His parents helped cover it, but from what I heard, they were less than thrilled. Emma, from work? She ghosted him the moment he became single. Turns out she liked the attention more than the man behind it. Funny how that works. He told everyone I cheated, that Nathan seduced me, that he was the victim of our betrayal. The story changed every time someone new asked. Some people believed him, some didn't. I stopped caring. Nathan and I, we took things slowly, cautiously, then honestly, then joyfully. His father came around first, pulled Nathan aside one night and said, I don't love how this started, but you look lighter, happier. That counts. His mother took longer. Still gives me looks sometimes, but she's civil, mostly because she loves Nathan more than she hates me. We've gone on trips, had dinners with his work friends. I'm meeting his college roommates soon. We laugh a lot. We fight cleanly. We talk clearly. There's no pretending, no games, no emotional traps disguised as growth. Last week, I ran into Liam at the grocery store. He was with some new girl who looked like she'd been briefed on exactly how to smile for the audience. We locked eyes. I nodded politely. He glared. He texted me later. So you can't even say hi now? I blocked his number. Should have done it sooner. People ask if I regret how everything went down. Honestly, no. He destroyed the relationship the day he asked to open it. He just didn't realize he'd already lost until I chose someone who didn't need to manipulate me to keep me. Nathan once asked me if dating him was revenge. Maybe at first, but somewhere along the way, it became real. The kind of real that doesn't need rules or ultimatums or experiments to prove itself. Life feels good from where I'm standing. And if Liam still doesn't like who I ended up with, not my problem anymore.